Run, Don't Walk: The Curious and Chaotic Life of a Physical Therapist Inside Walter Reed Army Medical Center. This is tough stuff. She brought us into her world of staff members and patients and home life too. She has a really great story about visiting Home Depot. Uh, it's great. You should definitely get it just for that anecdotal presence. But I love this quote from her. She goes, "But no matter what the method was, the goal was the same: to get our patients back to the highest level of function. And at Walter Reed, with the luxury of long-term physical therapy and best prosthetic care, we are able to do that." That sums it up perfectly. And they just get to know the human behavior of how people react towards grief and towards the healing process, because most of them, they have lost limbs, whether it's above the knee or below the knee. And how do you go about getting a prosthetic? What's the process? Do they start off with walking on like these metal gears that are legs, or do they start off with something different? And the answer is that they do start off with something different, but it's to make sure. Like, I'm not one to ride a skateboard. The balance thing, I'd rather like sit and scoot on the skateboard. And so I would think like being an amputee would need a progression of, okay, I'm gonna learn to walk again. But it's not learning how to walk because you already know how to walk. It's learning how to balance on these stilts, and how can you get your strength in that. So she explains that, yeah, it's not learning to walk. It's much more of a process. And I like that, and I can just envision the workspace that she has. She creates such a wonderful picture. And this is current. This is people from the Iraq War. She started working in 2005, and she breaks up her book into, I think it's just 2 parts. And difficulties are just things to overcome after all, said Ernest Shackleton, polar explorer. So I want to give a shout out to Adele for writing this wonderful book. And I'm not one to read books twice, but I think this one is actually going to stay on my shelf because, as you can tell, I feel more in the know. So thank you, Adele, for writing this. And I'm actually going to write a letter to you. So just thank you. It was a great summer read, and there was a moment in your telling of the story that really pulled on my heartstrings to just go, oh my gosh, that is a wonderful idea. I'm so glad you thought of it. So really, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for writing this book, because we all know someone who has served, whether it's a family member or a friend, and it's just great to know that there's people that are like you that can totally help them. I don't know why I'm getting so emotional, but thank you for what you're doing, for putting people back together as they've been torn apart. I think it's so great to have books like this that are available. So, thank you. I'm crying. Ugh. We all know people. Okay. Days at Walter Reed were intense, chaotic, and heartbreaking, but they are also filled with... I want to read you a little bit more of this flat because, as you can tell, I really do love this book. She goes, days at Walter Reed were intense, chaotic, and heartbreaking, but they were also filled with fierce camaraderie and unlikely comedy. Working in a glassed-in fishbowl gymnasium, Levine and her colleagues and their combat-injured patients were on display at every moment to tour groups, politicians, and celebrities. Some would tear up openly at the sight, but inside the glass and out of earshot, the PTs and the rowdy patients cracked jokes, played pranks, and compared stumps. So you know this is a good one. Let me tell you a little bit about the author, what she has on her flap. Adele Levine is a practicing physical therapist. She worked at Walter Reed Army Medical Center from 2005 until its closure in 2011, when she was transferred to National Naval Medical Center, renamed Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. Levine is also a lover of long-distance open water swimming and late-night urban cycling. So thank you for taking the time out of your busy, busy life to write this wonderful story about these people. I like that they say on the back flap, it's deeply humane and absorbing. Run, Don't Walk illuminates the pain of loss, the joy of recovery, and the redemptive power of humor in the face of any challenge. Yes, we all need a good laugh, and this just, it does it, but it's not a comedy. It definitely just gives you moments of real, raw human nature, and it's great. It gave me a truly great insight, and I feel very much more informed after reading this. And I'm not one to read a book twice, but I think I actually might read this one twice because there's so much information, but it's given to you in such a way that you feel like you're a part of the staff, which I think is so great, and that's just a testament to her writing style. Run, Don't Walk by Adele Levine.